1. The mysterious gift. Elara sat by the window of her small apartment, the city of Lumeria bustling below her. The evening sun cast a warm glow over the cobblestone streets, where vendors shouted their wares and children played in the fading light. It was a scene of normalcy that Elara cherished, but her life had been anything but normal since the whispers began. It started a few weeks ago. At first, she thought she was losing her mind. Faint, almost indistinguishable voices would murmur in her ear, their words just out of reach. She had brushed it off as stress, a side effect of working long hours at the local library. But the whispers grew louder, more persistent, and impossible to ignore. Today, the whispers were particularly strong. Elara closed her eyes and took a deep breath, focusing on the voices. They seemed to be calling her name, pleading for her attention. She had read about mediums and ghost whisperers in the library's extensive collection of occult books, but she had never believed in such things. Yet, here she was, experiencing something straight out of a supernatural tale. "Elara," a voice whispered, clearer than ever before. She jolted upright, her heart pounding. The voice was that of a young girl, filled with sorrow and desperation. "Please, help me." Elara's curiosity and empathy overcame her fear. She had to find out who this girl was and what she wanted. But how? She had no experience with spirits or the afterlife. Her thoughts were interrupted by a knock at the door. "Elara, are you home?" It was Mrs. Whitmore, her elderly neighbor. Elara quickly composed herself and opened the door. "Good evening, Mrs. Whitmore. How can I help you?" Mrs. Whitmore smiled warmly, but her eyes were filled with concern. "I heard you talking to someone. Is everything all right, dear?" Elara hesitated. Should she confide in Mrs. Whitmore about the whispers? The old woman had always been kind to her, and maybe she could offer some advice. "Actually, Mrs. Whitmore, I've been hearing voices lately. It sounds strange, but it feels like someone is trying to reach out to me." Mrs. Whitmore's expression shifted to one of understanding and seriousness. "Come in, dear. We need to talk." Once they were seated in the cozy living room, Mrs. Whitmore began to explain. "Elara, our family has a long history with the supernatural. My grandmother was a medium, and she taught me a few things before she passed. It's not uncommon for certain people to have the gift of communicating with spirits." Elara listened intently, her initial skepticism fading. "Do you think that's what's happening to me?" Mrs. Whitmore nodded. "It's possible. Spirits often seek out those who can hear them when they have unresolved issues. It can be a blessing or a curse, depending on how you handle it. You must be cautious and learn to control your abilities." Elara felt a mix of relief and anxiety. At least she wasn't losing her mind, but the idea of communicating with the dead was overwhelming. "How do I control it? How can I help this spirit?" Mrs. Whitmore handed Elara an old, leather-bound book. "This belonged to my grandmother. It contains rituals and techniques for communicating with spirits. Start with the basics and see if you can make contact. But remember, always protect yourself. The spirit world can be dangerous." Elara took the book, its weight both physical and symbolic of the burden she was now carrying. She thanked Mrs. Whitmore and returned to her apartment, her mind racing with questions and possibilities. That night, Elara sat at her desk, the book open before her. The pages were filled with handwritten notes and sketches of protective symbols. She read through the first few chapters, learning about grounding rituals and protection spells. It felt surreal, like she had stepped into a different world. But the whispers had led her here, and she had to see it through. As she prepared for her first attempt at communication, she couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. She lit a candle and drew a protective circle around herself, following the instructions in the book. Taking a deep breath, she closed her eyes and focused on the voice she had heard earlier. "Who are you?" she whispered into the darkness. "What do you need?" For a moment, there was silence. Then, the young girl's voice returned, clearer than ever. "My name is Lily. I need your help to find my family. I'm lost." Elara's heart ached for the girl. She knew she couldn't ignore this plea for help. "I'll help you, Lily. Tell me what happened." As Lily's story unfolded, Elara realized that this was just the beginning of a journey that would change her life forever. The mysterious gift she had been given was both a challenge and an opportunity to make a difference in the lives of those who had been forgotten by the living. And so, with determination and a newfound sense of purpose, Elara embraced her role as a bridge between worlds, ready to face whatever lay ahead. 2. Unveiling the past. Elara's days at the library took on a new rhythm. By day, she cataloged books and assisted patrons, but by night, she delved into the mysteries of the spirit world. The leather-bound book from Mrs. Whitmore became her constant companion, its pages offering guidance and comfort as she navigated her newfound abilities. The whispers continued, but now they had a name and a story. Lily, the young spirit who had reached out to Elara, had been separated from her family in a tragic accident many years ago. Her spirit had lingered, unable to find peace. Elara felt a deep sense of responsibility to help Lily, but she knew she couldn't do it alone. One evening, as Elara was closing up the library, a young man entered. He was tall and lean, with dark hair and piercing blue eyes. He introduced himself as Marcus, a historian researching the city's past. "Hi, I'm Marcus. I've heard this library has some of the oldest records in Lumeria. I'm looking for information on the city's early days." Elara smiled, always eager to help a fellow researcher. "You've come to the right place. We have a vast collection of historical documents. What specifically are you looking for?" Marcus hesitated for a moment, then spoke. "I'm particularly interested in the history of supernatural occurrences in Lumeria. There are legends about people who could communicate with spirits. I'm trying to separate fact from fiction." Elara's heart skipped a beat. Could Marcus's research be connected to her own experiences? She decided to take a chance. "That's a fascinating area of study. I've been looking into similar topics myself. Maybe we can help each other." As they delved into the library's archives, Elara and Marcus uncovered a treasure trove of information. Old newspapers, diaries, and city records painted a picture of Lumeria's hidden history. They found accounts of mysterious disappearances, ghostly apparitions, and, most intriguingly, a secret society dedicated to protecting the living from restless spirits. The society, known as the Order of the Veil, had been active for centuries, guiding those with the gift and safeguarding the city from malevolent entities. The more Elara and Marcus learned, the more they realized that the Order's work was far from over. One night, while poring over an ancient manuscript, Elara found a reference to a young girl named Lily. The manuscript described how Lily's family had been part of the Order of the Veil. During a particularly dangerous mission, they had been separated, and Lily's spirit had become lost. "Elara, look at this," Marcus said, pointing to a passage. "It says that Lily's family tried to summon her spirit but couldn't reach her. They left behind clues in their journal, hoping someone with the gift would find her." Elara's eyes widened. "This is it, Marcus. This is the connection we've been looking for. We need to find that journal." Their search led them to an old, abandoned house on the outskirts of the city. According to the records, it had once belonged to Lily's family. The house was in a state of disrepair, but Elara felt a strange sense of familiarity as they approached it. Inside, the house was filled with dust and cobwebs, the remnants of a bygone era. Elara and Marcus searched every room, looking for the journal that might hold the key to Lily's past. In the attic, they found an old trunk filled with personal belongings, including a leather-bound journal. Elara carefully opened the journal, her heart racing. The pages were filled with handwritten notes and sketches, detailing the family's work with the Order of the Veil. They found references to rituals, protective spells, and most importantly, the location where Lily's spirit had been lost. "This is incredible," Marcus said, his voice filled with awe. "We need to perform the ritual to summon Lily's family. If we can connect with them, we might be able to reunite Lily with her loved ones." Elara nodded, feeling a renewed sense of purpose. "Let's do it. We owe it to Lily to bring her the peace she deserves." That night, Elara and Marcus returned to the library with the journal. They prepared for the ritual, following the instructions meticulously. As they lit the candles and drew the protective circle, Elara felt a surge of energy. She closed her eyes and focused on Lily's voice, calling out to her. "Lily, we've found your family's journal. We're going to bring them to you." The air in the room grew cold, and a soft glow began to emanate from the circle. Elara and Marcus held their breath as the glow intensified, forming the faint outlines of figures. Lily's spirit appeared, her eyes wide with hope. "Elara, is that really them?" Lily's voice was filled with emotion. "Yes, Lily. We've done it. Your family is here." The figures solidified into the shapes of a man and a woman, their faces filled with love and relief. Lily's spirit floated towards them, her form shimmering with joy. "Thank you, Elara," Lily whispered, tears of gratitude in her eyes. "I can finally go home." As the spirits embraced, Elara felt a sense of fulfillment she had never known before. She had unlocked the mysteries of the past and given a lost soul the peace it deserved. And in doing so, she had found her true calling. The journey was far from over, but Elara knew that with Marcus by her side and the knowledge they had gained, they could face whatever challenges lay ahead. The Order of the Veil's legacy would live on, and Elara was ready to embrace her role in protecting both the living and the dead. With a sense of accomplishment and a heart full of hope, Elara looked forward to the future, knowing that the past held the keys to unlocking even greater mysteries. 3. Dark Plots and Curses. Elara and Marcus's success in reuniting Lily with her family brought them closer together and deepened their commitment to uncovering the secrets of Lumeria's supernatural past. Their research into the Order of the Veil revealed more about the Society's mission and its role in protecting the city from malevolent spirits. However, with each new discovery came new dangers, and they soon found themselves entangled in dark plots and ancient curses that threatened their lives and the city they loved. One evening, as Elara was sifting through the Order's documents in the library, she came across a parchment that mentioned a series of mysterious deaths that had plagued Lumeria in the 1800s. The deaths were attributed to a curse linked to a powerful artifact known as the Shadow Amulet. Intrigued and alarmed, Elara shared her findings with Marcus. This Shadow Amulet was said to grant immense power to its possessor, Elara explained, but it also came with a deadly curse. Those who sought to use its power for selfish purposes met with untimely and gruesome ends. Marcus nodded, his brow furrowed in concern. If the amulet is still out there, it could pose a serious threat. We need to find it and secure it before it falls into the wrong hands. Their investigation led them to a reclusive historian named Professor Alistair Graves, who was rumored to have extensive knowledge about the amulet. They arranged to meet him at his secluded estate on the outskirts of the city. The professor greeted them with a wary smile, his piercing green eyes betraying a keen intellect. "Welcome, Elara and Marcus. I've heard of your recent exploits. It's not often I meet others who share my interest in the supernatural." After exchanging pleasantries, Elara got straight to the point. "Professor Graves, We're looking for information about the shadow amulet. We believe it's connected to a series of deaths in Lumeria's past, and we need to ensure it doesn't cause any more harm." Graves' expression turned serious. The shadow amulet is a dangerous relic, indeed. It was created by a powerful sorcerer who sought to control the spirits of the dead. The curse it carries is a manifestation of his malevolent intentions. Anyone who tries to harness its power for selfish gain will suffer a fate worse than death. Elara and Marcus listened intently as Graves recounted the history of the amulet. He revealed that the last known possessor of the amulet was a member of the Order of the Veil, who had hidden it to prevent it from being misused. However, recent disturbances suggested that someone was seeking the amulet once more. "Do you know where it might be hidden?" Marcus asked, his voice filled with urgency. Graves shook his head. "The location was kept secret to protect it. But I do know of a clue that might lead you to it. In the Order's records, there's a map with cryptic markings. If you can decipher it, you might find the amulet's hiding place." Back at the library, Elara and Marcus pored over the Order's records, searching for the map Graves had mentioned. After hours of meticulous searching, they found a parchment with strange symbols and coordinates. Using their combined knowledge of history and the occult, they began to decode the map. Their efforts led them to an old, abandoned crypt beneath the city. The crypt was said to be the resting place of the sorcerer who had created the shadow amulet. Armed with the protective spells and rituals from Mrs. Whitmore's book, Elara and Marcus descended into the dark, musty depths of the crypt. The air grew colder as they ventured deeper, and a sense of foreboding hung heavy around them. Elara felt the whispers of spirits growing stronger, urging her to turn back. But she pressed on, determined to find the amulet and end the curse. In the heart of the crypt, they found a sealed chamber with intricate carvings and protective symbols. Using a combination of ancient incantations and physical effort, they managed to break the seal and enter the chamber. Inside, they found the shadow amulet, its dark, iridescent surface pulsing with a malevolent energy. As they approached, a ghostly figure appeared before them, the spirit of the sorcerer who had created the amulet. "You dare to disturb my resting place," the spirit hissed, his voice echoing with malice. "The amulet's power is mine alone." Elara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear gnawing at her. "Your reign of terror ends here. We will not allow you to harm anyone else." The sorcerer's spirit unleashed a torrent of dark energy, but Elara and Marcus were prepared. They recited the protective spells and used the artifacts they had gathered to deflect the attacks. With a final, desperate effort, Elara reached out and grasped the shadow amulet. A blinding light filled the chamber, and the sorcerer's spirit let out a piercing scream before dissipating into nothingness. The amulet's dark energy began to fade, and Elara could feel the curse lifting. As the chamber returned to silence, Elara and Marcus exchanged relieved smiles. They had done it, they had secured the shadow amulet and ended the sorcerer's curse. But their victory was bittersweet. They knew that the amulet's power was still dangerous, and it needed to be protected. Returning to the surface, they decided to hide the amulet in a place where it could never be found by those who would misuse it. With the help of Professor Graves and Mrs. Whitmore, they performed a powerful binding ritual, ensuring that the amulet's location would remain hidden and its power contained. Elara and Marcus's journey had only just begun, but they had proven that they could face the darkest of plots and the deadliest of curses. Together, they would continue to protect Lumeria from the supernatural threats that lurked in the shadows, guided by the wisdom of the past and their unwavering determination. As they left the crypt behind, Elara felt a sense of closure and a renewed sense of purpose. The city of Lumeria still held many secrets, and she was ready to uncover them all, one by one, with Marcus by her side. 4. Allies and adversaries. Elara and Marcus's success in securing the shadow amulet bolstered their resolve, but it also attracted attention from both allies and adversaries. As they continued their work, they quickly realized that they were not the only ones interested in Lumeria's supernatural mysteries. One morning, Elara received a cryptic letter delivered to the library. The letter, written in elegant cursive, invited her and Marcus to a meeting with a group called the Guardians of the Veil. Intrigued and cautious, they decided to attend the meeting, hoping to find potential allies. The meeting took place in a hidden chamber beneath an old cathedral. Elara and Marcus were greeted by a small group of individuals, each possessing unique abilities related to the supernatural. The leader, a woman named Celine, welcomed them warmly. "Elara, Marcus, we've been following your work," Celine began. "The Guardians of the Veil have been protecting Lumeria from supernatural threats for centuries. We believe our combined efforts can achieve more than working separately." Elara and Marcus exchanged glances, both recognizing the potential of this alliance. "We're honored to join forces," Elara replied. "Together, we can uncover more of Lumeria's secrets and protect our city." Celine introduced them to the other members: Jackson, a telepath who could communicate with spirits; Nadia, an empath with the ability to sense emotions and intentions; and Ethan, a skilled combatant trained in ancient martial arts. Each brought valuable skills to the team, and Elara felt a sense of camaraderie and hope. As they collaborated, the Guardians shared information about recent disturbances in Lumeria. They spoke of a shadowy figure named Draven, a powerful sorcerer seeking to harness the city's supernatural energy for his own gain. Draven's followers, known as the Shadow Conclave, were responsible for numerous dark rituals and attacks. The Guardians had been tracking Draven for years, but his elusive nature and powerful magic made him a formidable foe. With Elara and Marcus's recent discoveries, they believed they had a better chance of stopping him. Elara felt a chill run down her spine at the mention of Draven. She had encountered his name in the Order of the Veil's documents, always accompanied by tales of destruction and malevolence. Determined to protect her city, she steeled herself for the challenges ahead. Their first mission together was to investigate a series of disappearances in the industrial district. Witnesses reported seeing shadowy figures and hearing eerie chants before the victims vanished. Elara, Marcus, and the Guardians prepared to face whatever awaited them. That night, they ventured into the district, moving stealthily through the deserted streets. Elara could feel the presence of spirits, their whispers growing louder as they approached an old, abandoned factory. The air was thick with tension, and a sense of foreboding loomed over them. Inside the factory, they found signs of dark rituals, pentagrams drawn in blood, flickering candles, and strange symbols etched into the walls. Suddenly, they were ambushed by a group of Draven's followers, their eyes glowing with unnatural energy. Jackson and Nadia used their abilities to disorient the attackers, while Ethan and Marcus engaged in combat. Elara focused on identifying the leader of the group, a tall figure cloaked in shadows. She chanted a protective spell, hoping to weaken their defenses. The battle was fierce, but the Guardians' teamwork and expertise gave them the upper hand. As the last of Draven's followers fell, the cloaked figure retreated, leaving behind a trail of dark energy. Elara and Marcus pursued him, determined to uncover his identity. They cornered the figure in a dimly lit corridor. Elara's protective spell had weakened his magic, and he was no match for their combined strength. With a final incantation, Elara dispelled the shadows, revealing a man with hollow eyes and a cruel smile. "You think you've won?" he sneered. "Draven's power grows with every passing day. You can't stop what's coming." Before they could question him further, the man's body disintegrated into a cloud of dark mist, vanishing into the night. Elara and Marcus returned to the factory, where the Guardians were securing the area and freeing the captured victims. Celine approached them, her expression grave. "This is only the beginning. Draven's followers are more dangerous than we anticipated. We need to be prepared for anything." Elara nodded, her resolve unwavering. We'll face whatever comes our way. Together, we can protect Lumeria and uncover the truth behind Draven's plans. The days that followed were filled with intense training and research. The Guardians taught Elara and Marcus advanced combat techniques and powerful spells, while they shared their knowledge of the Order of the Veil's history and artifacts. Despite the growing danger, Elara felt a sense of purpose and belonging. She was no longer alone in her quest to protect the city and the spirits that called it home. With the Guardians by her side, she was ready to face Draven and his dark forces head-on. As they prepared for their next mission, Elara couldn't help but reflect on how much her life had changed. What had started as a mysterious gift had transformed into a calling, one that she embraced wholeheartedly. With allies like Marcus and the Guardians, she knew they could overcome any adversary and protect the city she loved. The path ahead was fraught with peril, but Elara's heart was full of hope and determination. She would continue to unveil the past, confront the darkness, and shine a light on the hidden truths of Lumeria. Together, they would write a new chapter in the city's history, one of courage, unity, and unwavering resolve. 5. The Hidden War. The discovery of Draven's followers and the escalating threats in Lumeria marked the beginning of what Elara and her allies soon realized was a much larger conflict. The city, steeped in history and supernatural energy, had become the battleground for an ancient and hidden war between forces of light and darkness. The Guardians of the Veil intensified their efforts to uncover Draven's plans. Through their research and reconnaissance, they learned that Draven sought to tap into the city's ley lines, powerful currents of magical energy that crisscrossed beneath Lumeria. By harnessing this energy, Draven intended to unleash a catastrophic event that would plunge the city into eternal darkness and allow him to dominate both the living and the dead. Elara's connection to the spirits grew stronger as she delved deeper into her abilities. The spirits, sensing her determination and purity of heart, offered their guidance. They spoke of the ley lines and the ancient rituals used to protect them. With this knowledge, Elara and her allies devised a plan to disrupt Draven's schemes and safeguard the city's magical balance. One evening, as Elara was meditating in her apartment, she received an urgent vision from a spirit. It was Lily, her first contact from the spirit world. Lily's presence was filled with urgency and fear. Elara, Draven is planning something terrible. He's going to perform a ritual at the heart of the ley lines beneath the city. You must stop him. Elara's heart raced. She immediately contacted Marcus and the other Guardians. They gathered at their hidden headquarters to devise a plan. We need to find the heart of the ley lines and stop Draven's ritual, Marcus said, his voice resolute. But we can't do it alone. We need all the help we can get. Celine nodded. We'll call upon our allies and prepare for battle. This is the fight we've been training for. The Guardians reached out to other supernatural factions within the city, benevolent witches, reclusive sorcerers, and even a clan of werewolves who had long protected Lumeria's outskirts. United by a common cause, these groups agreed to join forces and confront the looming threat. As they prepared for the confrontation, Elara couldn't shake the feeling that something crucial was still missing. She spent hours poring over the Order of the Veil's documents, hoping to find any last piece of information that could turn the tide in their favor. Her efforts paid off when she discovered an ancient scroll detailing a powerful protection ritual. The ritual, known as the Aegis of Light, could create a barrier around the ley lines, preventing Draven from accessing their power. But the ritual required a great deal of energy and cooperation from all the allied factions. With the scroll in hand, Elara gathered the leaders of the allied factions. We have a way to protect the ley lines, she explained. The Aegis of Light can shield the city from Draven's dark magic, but we'll need to perform the ritual together. The leaders agreed, and preparations began immediately. They chose a location near the city's center, where the ley lines converged. As they worked, tensions ran high, but the sense of unity and purpose was palpable. On the night of the ritual, the city's skies were overcast, and a palpable sense of dread hung in the air. Elara, Marcus, and the Guardians led the allied factions to the heart of the ley lines. They formed a large circle, each person taking their place according to the ritual's requirements. Elara stood at the center, her hands raised and her voice steady as she recited the incantations from the scroll. The air crackled with magical energy as the ritual progressed. The ground beneath them trembled, and a soft, golden light began to emanate from the ley lines. As the ritual reached its climax, Draven and his followers emerged from the shadows, launching a fierce attack. The Guardians and their allies fought valiantly, using their unique abilities to fend off the dark sorcerer's forces. Elara remained focused, drawing on the energy of the ley lines and the strength of her allies. She could feel the power of the Aegis of Light building, but she also sensed Draven's relentless determination. He was stronger and more cunning than they had anticipated. With a surge of dark magic, Draven broke through the protective barrier surrounding the circle. He advanced toward Elara, his eyes burning with hatred. "You cannot stop me, Elara. The power of the ley lines will be mine." Elara's heart pounded, but she stood her ground. She called upon the spirits, drawing on their wisdom and strength. With their guidance, she completed the final incantation, and the golden light intensified, forming a shimmering barrier around the ley lines. Draven screamed in frustration as the Aegis of Light took hold. The barrier repelled his dark magic, and his connection to the ley lines was severed. Weakened and enraged, he lashed out, but Marcus and the other Guardians were ready. They launched a coordinated attack, using their combined abilities to subdue the dark sorcerer. In a final, desperate move, Draven attempted to escape, but Celine and Ethan intercepted him, using their magic and combat skills to trap him within a binding circle. "It's over, Draven," Celine said, her voice firm. "You will never threaten this city again." With Draven defeated and his followers scattered, the allied factions celebrated their hard-won victory. The Aegis of Light shimmered, a testament to their unity and determination. Lumeria was safe, at least for now. As the dawn broke over the city, Elara felt a deep sense of fulfillment. They had protected the ley lines and preserved the delicate balance between the living and the supernatural. The hidden war was far from over, but they had won a crucial battle. Standing side by side with Marcus and the Guardians, Elara knew that their work would continue. The city's secrets were vast, and new threats would undoubtedly emerge. But with their newfound allies and the strength of their convictions, they were ready to face whatever challenges lay ahead. Together, they would continue to protect Lumeria, uncovering its hidden truths and guarding it against the darkness. The hidden war might rage on, but Elara and her allies would stand as its stalwart defenders, united by their unwavering resolve and their love for their city. 6. Confronting the shadows. The victory over Draven and his followers provided a brief respite, but Elara and the Guardians of the Veil knew that their work was far from finished. The threat of the Shadow Conclave still loomed, and whispers of darker forces began to spread through the city of Lumeria. Elara, Marcus, and their allies braced themselves for the challenges that lay ahead, determined to protect their city at all costs. As the Guardians continued to monitor supernatural activity, they noticed an alarming increase in the number of restless spirits. The whispers that once guided Elara now spoke of a new menace, a shadowy figure orchestrating chaos from the depths of the spirit world. This figure, known only as the Shadow King, sought to exploit the disruption caused by Draven's defeat to seize control over both the living and the dead. Elara's connection to the spirit world grew more intense, and the spirits' pleas for help became more urgent. She knew they had to confront this new threat before it could gain a foothold in their world. The Guardians gathered at their headquarters to devise a plan. "The Shadow King is unlike any adversary we've faced before," Celine warned. He has the power to manipulate both spirits and the living, and his influence is growing stronger by the day. Marcus nodded, his expression grim. We need to find his lair and cut off his power at the source. But how do we fight a foe who exists between worlds? Elara felt a surge of determination. We have to use our connection to the spirit world to our advantage. The spirits trust us, and they can guide us to the Shadow King. We need to confront him on his own turf. As the night of the confrontation approached, Elara felt a mix of fear and resolve. She and Marcus spent hours reviewing the incantations and rituals they would need, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. They knew that this battle would test their limits. As the night of the confrontation approached, Elara felt a mix of fear and resolve. She and Marcus spent hours reviewing the incantations and rituals they would need, their bond growing stronger with each passing moment. They knew that this battle would test their limits, but they were ready to face whatever lay ahead. Under the light of a full moon, the Guardians gathered in a sacred grove on the outskirts of the city. The air crackled with magical energy as they formed a circle, holding hands and reciting the incantations that would open the gateway to the spirit realm. As the final words left their lips, a shimmering portal appeared before them. One by one, they stepped through the portal, entering a world of ethereal beauty and haunting shadows. The spirit realm was a place of shifting landscapes and ghostly apparitions, where the boundary between reality and illusion was thin. Elara felt the presence of countless spirits, their eyes watching her every move. The spirits guided them through the realm, leading them to a dark and foreboding castle that loomed in the distance. This was the Shadow King's lair, a place of twisted architecture and malevolent energy. As they approached, the air grew colder, and a sense of dread settled over the group. Inside the castle, they encountered spirits twisted by the Shadow King's influence. These tormented souls attacked with a ferocity born of their pain and despair. The Guardians fought back, using their skills and magic to subdue the spirits without causing them further harm. Elara's heart ached for these lost souls, and she vowed to free them from the Shadow King's grasp. At the heart of the castle, they found the Shadow King seated on a throne of darkness. His eyes gleamed with malevolent intelligence as he regarded the intruders. "You dare to challenge me in my own domain," he hissed. "Fools! You will join the ranks of the lost." Elara stepped forward, her voice steady despite the fear that churned within her. "We will not let you harm our world or the spirits who seek peace. Your reign of terror ends here." The Shadow King laughed, a sound that sent chills down their spines. "You think you can defeat me? I am the Master of Shadows, the ruler of the Forgotten." The battle that ensued was fierce and relentless. The Shadow King summoned waves of darkness to attack the Guardians, but they fought back with unwavering determination. Marcus and Ethan used their combat skills to fend off the shadowy minions, while Celine and Jackson cast powerful spells to counter the Shadow King's magic. Elara focused on the spirits, calling out to them with all her strength. "You don't have to serve him. Remember who you are. Find the light within you." Slowly, the spirits began to respond, breaking free from the Shadow King's control. Their combined energy weakened him, and Elara seized the opportunity. She drew upon the full power of her connection to the spirit world, channeling it into a blinding beam of light that pierced the darkness. The Shadow King screamed in agony as the light enveloped him, dissolving his form into nothingness. The castle trembled and began to crumble, the dark magic that held it together unraveling. The Guardians hurried to escape, guided by the freed spirits. Back in the sacred grove, the portal closed behind them, and they collapsed to the ground, exhausted but triumphant. The air was filled with the joyous whispers of spirits who had found peace at last. Elara looked at her companions, their faces reflecting a mixture of relief and triumph. They had confronted the shadows and emerged victorious, their bond stronger than ever. The city of Lumeria was safe, and the balance between the living and the spirit world had been restored. As they made their way back to the city, Elara felt a profound sense of fulfillment. She knew that there would always be new challenges and threats, but she also knew that she and her allies were ready to face them together. The hidden war might never truly end, but with courage, unity, and unwavering resolve, they would continue to protect the city they loved. Elara embraced her role as a guardian of Lumeria, ready to confront whatever shadows the future might bring. With Marcus by her side and the support of the Guardians, she felt confident that they could overcome any adversity. The journey ahead was uncertain, but it was one they would face together, guided by the light of their courage and the strength of their bond.